In a moment that scorched the already fragile remnants of Prince Harry's credibility, Stephen Colbert didn't hold back. On a recent episode of The Late Show, Colbert took a blowtorch to the Duke of Sussex's public image, labeling him self-centered and mocking his scorched-earth campaign against the royal family. It was a rare moment of mainstream, primetime American television delivering an unfiltered reality check to a man who has spent the last several years recasting himself as a victim, while seemingly torching every bridge behind him for clicks, cameras, and cash. "He's burned more bridges than a medieval warlord," Colbert joked, staring deadpan into the camera. At this point, he's not estranged from the royal family. He's at war with them. And all for what? Book deals and Netflix ratings. Colbert's searing monologue didn't come from a place of malice. It came from a place of observation. It was sharp but fair, cutting but true. And perhaps most importantly, it echoed what millions have been thinking but the mainstream press has been hesitant to say. Prince Harry's transformation from royal rebel to self-pitying media mercenary has been as hypocritical as it is hypocritically profitable. The Prince of Hypocrisy. From spare to spectacle, Prince Harry's reputation, once bolstered by his military service and charity work, now lies in tatters, sacrificed at the altar of celebrity culture. His memoir Spare, a sprawling, overindulgent tell-all, was less an honest reflection and more a public therapy session broadcast to the world for $20 a pop. Colbert's jabs weren't unfounded. Harry's behavior has consistently showcased a man who wants all the privileges of royalty without the responsibilities, and all the sympathies of a victim without acknowledging his own role in the chaos. In Spare, Harry accused his family of coldness, neglect, and even racial insensitivity. Yet, in almost the same breath, he profits off the very institution he claims to loathe. He slammed the British press for its invasiveness, then turned around and invited Netflix cameras into his California mansion. He claims to seek privacy but jumps at every opportunity to be featured on talk shows, magazine covers, and streaming services. A campaign of destruction, not reconciliation. Colbert's choice of words, burning bridges, isn't just comedic flourish. It's a clinical diagnosis of Harry's entire post-royal strategy. Whether it's estrangement from King Charles, public brawls with Prince William, or snide insinuations about Kate Middleton, Prince Harry has made a career out of public betrayal. The Duke's actions haven't just distanced him from his family, they've completely annihilated any hope for reconciliation. In January 2023, King Charles extended a private olive branch to his son ahead of his coronation. But instead of quietly accepting and working to heal wounds, Harry used media appearances to demand apologies from his family. He positioned himself as the wounded party, yet failed to acknowledge his own role in exacerbating tensions. It was this brazen hypocrisy that Colbert nailed with surgical precision. "He's asking for an apology," Colbert said with an arched eyebrow, "but you can't demand peace while waving a flamethrower." Harry the opportunist, not the outsider. Harry's carefully curated image of a misunderstood outsider is unraveling, and public figures like Colbert are no longer buying the act. What was once viewed as a brave break from a stifling institution is now seen for what it truly is, a carefully monetized exit strategy. Let's not forget that Harry and Meghan's deal with Netflix was worth a reported $100 million. Their partnership with Spotify, now defunct, brought in tens of millions before crashing due to underperformance and lack of substance. Meghan's Archetypes podcast was called out for being overly scripted, poorly executed, and ultimately uninspired. When Spotify parted ways with the couple, a senior executive famously referred to them as king grifters, a harsh yet increasingly common sentiment. Colbert's criticisms reflect a growing fatigue with the Sussex brand, particularly in the US. Once welcomed with open arms, Harry is now being seen as yet another celebrity exploiting royal intrigue for relevance. The American public, increasingly aware of the contradictions in his narrative, are losing patience with his self-serving victimhood. The irony of it all, a prince obsessed with privacy on a publicity tour. The greatest irony, one Colbert gleefully dissected, is Harry's unrelenting media blitz in the name of privacy. His sit-downs with Oprah, his documentary series, his book, his interviews, each one serves to reinforce the public's impression that Harry doesn't want privacy. He wants publicity, but on his terms. He wants to be seen, but only through his lens. He wants sympathy, not scrutiny. He wants to be the hero of his own narrative, even if it means making villains out of his own family. That's not privacy, that's propaganda. When Colbert took a dig at Harry's hypocrisy on national television, it didn't come out of nowhere. It was a direct response to the glaring contradictions that have defined Harry's post-royal life. The performative victimhood, the monetized trauma, the refusal to engage privately with family while exploiting every private moment publicly. It's a theater of contradiction, and the audience is growing weary. An unforgiving America? The honeymoon is over. Harry once enjoyed immense popularity in the United States. In the immediate aftermath of Megxit, Americans saw the Sussexes as brave truth-tellers escaping an archaic institution. But over time, their contradictions became too loud to ignore. And now, comedians like Colbert, once likely allies, are turning their barbed wit against him. It's not just about Harry being roasted for entertainment. It's a broader signal: the American media establishment, once sympathetic to his cause, is beginning to see through the veneer. Even liberal talk show hosts who once rallied behind him are acknowledging the absurdity of his contradictions. The Sussex honeymoon period is well and truly over. No way back for the Duke. The damage, of course, is not just reputational. It's deeply personal and irreversible. By taking his grievances public, Harry has permanently altered his relationship with his family. The royal family, infamously stoic, has chosen not to respond to his provocations. But make no mistake, silence is not forgiveness. It is detachment. Harry's once celebrated relationship with his brother William is now beyond repair. His bond with King Charles is strained, perhaps irreparably so. And his role within the monarchy, symbolic or otherwise, is dead and buried. All that remains is the echo of what might have been, drowned out by the noise of talk show punchlines and streaming deals. Stephen Colbert's public evisceration of Prince Harry wasn't just a comedy bit, it was a cultural moment. It marked the point at which Harry became a punchline rather than a paragon. The self-styled Duke of Authenticity is now seen as disingenuous. The man who fled from the spotlight is now chasing it with almost manic obsession. Harry isn't the tragic hero of a Shakespearean drama. He's the cautionary tale in a Hollywood script, one that started with royal promise and ended in a spiral of self-destruction, brand deals, and talk show jabs. And now even the comedians are done playing nice. As Colbert wrapped up his monologue, he quipped, "If Harry's Burning Bridges was a Netflix special, it'd be called The Crown, Ashes." And with that, the laughter wasn't just about Harry, it was at his expense.